Hi, welcome to A Jade Kind Gaming. My name is Adam. Today, I'm going to be unboxing some Magic the Gathering. Dungeons & Dragons Adventures in the Forgotten Realms packs. This is a set that I found incredibly exciting. I've played Magic on and off since around Torment. And been into Dungeons & Dragons since 3rd edition. And I've enjoyed on the Dungeons & Dragons side as they've crossed the streams, and I've gotten some Magic settings for D&D, and now we have a D&D set of Magic cards. It's combining two things that I like, and I like that. So I have the bundle. It used to be the fat pack. So that'll have, a selection of draft boosters. We'll look through those. But as there's a whole bunch of different types of booster packs these days. I didn't just want to open up draft boosters. Those are all well and good. They're great if you're playing like a draft format, of course. But I got a group of set boosters. A bit of a different layout of cards, and then a couple of the mighty expensive collector boosters. I think they're like $20 a booster. Anyways, to begin, we'll start here just with the bundle. And there's fancy stuff in there. So, get this started. Pull off the plastic here. There we go. Oh, yeah. Okay. Embark on a new quest. That's a cool piece of art. And then inside here, generally, if you take apart your bundle packaging, it has that sort of tacky adhesive, a little peel off clean. I don't know if there'd be anything I'll do with it, but it has art in here, so it's worth doing that. There's a little the little thing on the bottom that helps space it out. Technically, is a little box. I never used the little box for anything, but okay. So this is not in here. There are dungeons as a mechanic in this set, which are a type of token that you need. Well, they are very common in the tokens, but to help you out, they've given you all 3 of those tokens in extra large cards here, just to make sure that you have them easy to read, easy to access. Whenever you get to delve into a dungeon, you have your dungeon options. So they have all 3 of those there on extra big cards, which I guess if you're using a little like token or something to mark where you are in the dungeon, it might be easier to keep track of exactly which spot it's on a slightly bigger dungeon. Interesting looking magic back with the yellow lettering. And then there's this. And this pretty. This is our box. Got the set name there. Take that off. That is a hefty, big, chunky D20. Did they? Oh, that is so nice. Okay. So on the back here, I was noticing you have your symbol here, and right next to it is a 19, 18, 17, 16. Can't see those 2, but there's 2 more and then 13. It's in the spin down alignment, the way it's pictured there. Which, fine. I mean, it is Magic, but I mean, it is a D&D set. Like, it'd be cooler if it weren't. And it's not. As here is the 20 next to the 2. It is the proper layout for like a normal, like a randomized layout for the dice, which makes it less useful for keeping track of your life. But this set requires you at times to roll a d20, and now we have a nice one that is a little more random, harder to try and make it fall on where you want it. Plus, just a useful d20 for D&D. So cool. In here, you have a box for cards that also includes a smaller divider box that if you just need to cut off a section of it and only use part of it, you can. But by turning it upright, you have 2 different sections for cards. Nice. Nicer than they used to do. We have 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 draft boosters. We will open all of those. 2 little rules cards, and I'll use those as a great chance to go down to card scale here. So, reference for what to do on your turn, different popular magic formats, how to cast spells, attacking versus blocking, just some little rules reference there. Lands. Which I'm not gonna go through each one, but there is flavor text on these lands if you pause and read them, and they are generally a little we'll say story or quest prompts. Like here. You expected to meet hostile drow in this ancient ruin, but they fled long ago. What darkness could have driven them out? Yeah, so just some and definitely tied into some of the Forgotten Realms stuff now. So we have those lands. And in here, we have some foils. We have this foil treasure chest. So, with rarity promotional bundle. So, we have treasure chest. And then we have all the same lands that we just had, only now they're in foil. So you get one of each land in the foil variant by getting the bundle. So if you just want to see the pretty foil art, you get them. Then we move on to booster packs, which they do actually have information. I feel like they didn't used to have all this information. I don't know if it's for randomized cards, if they now have to include it, or if they just started once they had so many different varieties of booster packs to help you figure out which one to get. But they include the boost information on the packs now of what kind of thing you'll find within. Okay, so on this one, I'm just going to go through each card on the first one here. Even the comments on the first one. Secret Door. So, wall, defender, so, and pay to venture into the dungeon. That is where you enter one of these dungeons or go to the next room within it. So, the way opened before him, and the dust of centuries stirred in the air. Half-elf monk. Human elf, so half an elf, and then a monk, the class. Vigilance, Stunning Strike, D&D ability, is just a name for pay to tap and tap target creature. This fight was over the moment you picked up that clumsy cleaver of a sword. Grim Bounty, destroy target creature or planeswalker and create a treasure token. And freed from the need to pay tribute to the dragon, the villagers gladly paid the dragon slayers instead. Oh yeah. Ranger's Longbow, equipment, Equipped creature gets +2/+1, has reach, equipped for 3, the sorcery. With the right weapon, a fearsome beholder is nothing more than a big floating bullseye. Unexpected Windfall. Instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card and draw 2 cards, create 2 treasure tokens, which can be used for mana of any color. Fortune favors the fortunate. Treasure tokens are quite common in this set, which really helps if you want to splash other colors in your deck, because they can create mana of any color, so even if you're mostly one color, you can easily get access to occasional whatever color you need. Fortune favors the fortunate. Mordenkainen's Polymorph. So a specific polymorph here. Till the end of turn, target creature becomes a dragon with power and toughness 4/4 and gains flying. Your purpose may change along with your shape, but you will serve regardless. Ranger's Hawk. Like a familiar bird flying. 3 and tap. Tap another untapped creature you control. Venture into the dungeon only as a sorcery. Swift eyes to scout the way ahead. Improvised Weaponry. Some sort of piece of treasure, perhaps. Improvised Weaponry deals 2 damage to any target and create a treasure token. Anything can be a weapon if you swing it hard enough. Baleful Beholder. Beholder is a creature type in Magic now. Beholder is a creature type in Magic now. When Baleful Beholder enters the battlefield, choose 1. Anti-Magic Cone. Each opponent sacrifices an enchantment. Or Fear Ray. Creatures you control gain menace until end of turn. It needs 2 creatures to block it. It's a 6/5. So again, names that really are just flavor. Devour Intellect. Target opponent discards a card. If mana from a treasure token was spent to cast this spell, instead that player reveals their hand, you choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. I'll know what you know soon enough. Nihilior, Zenithar Guild Spymaster. Alright, we're on to our uncommons here now. Divine Smite. Target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls phases out. If that permanent is black, exile it instead. If it phases out, treat it and anything attached to it as though they don't exist until its controller's next turn. That's a term that I wasn't familiar with before going into this set. When darkness closes in around us, my blade will light our path. Demogorgon's Clutches. Target opponent discards 2 cards, mills 2 cards, and loses 2 life. To mill a card, player puts the top card of their library into the graveyard. The good will be corrupted, the kind will be devoured, and all will be dragged into the bottomless abyss. Trelisara Moondancer. Oh, Elestray. Elf Cleric. When you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Trelisara Moondancer and scry 1. Yep, Elestray teaches us that we are not bound by the circumstances of our birth. We all may find beauty and light if we have the courage to seek them. I like Elestray. I've used Elestray in a couple games of mine now. And I got the Hand of Vecna. 3. At the beginning of combat on your turn, equipped creature or creature you control named Vecna gets +X/+X until the end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand. Equipped, pay 1 life for each card in your hand. So I guess you want to have less cards in your hand when you put it on and then draw a bunch. A mountain and a treasure token to represent that. Moving forward on the draft boosters, I'm not really going to look at every one of the cards quite so closely, but we got our commons. If there's any you're curious about, you can of course pause and look, or they're all on the you can just look at the whole set list on the Magic webpage. Our uncommons, we got a wizard class, and I will read this one because we haven't seen a class yet. Gain the next level as a sorcery to add its ability. So to put it out there, you play the enchantment for 1 blue, and you have no maximum hand size. For 2 and a blue, you get level 2 as a sorcery only. When this class becomes level 2, you draw 2 cards. So for 3, you draw 2 cards. And then for 4 and a blue, you can level up again as a sorcery to level 3. Whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Let's get Wild Shape. Blue Dragon. Wonderful. And then we get Den of the Bugbear as our rare. It's a land. If you control 2 or more other lands, it enters the battlefield tapped. You can tap it to add a red, so if you get it early on, you can just play it as your land to get things started. But if you draw it later on in the game, it comes in tapped instead. And then you can pay in order to turn it into a creature, and it creates more goblin tokens. You can see there, we get one of the tokens there, which has a goblin on the back. Draft Booster 3. Commons. Ooh, here's one of the commons that, so we got one of the monster manual art style cards. So this card exists as a normal framed card as well, but it's just a different art style, a different frame that sort of invokes the idea of the old school monster manual. Got 50 feet of rope, Skullport Merchant, and Bag of Holding as our uncommons. And then our rare is a Flumph. It's a jellyfish defender flying. When it's dealt damage, you and target opponent each draw a card. Flumps siphon thoughts and energy from evil aberrations, and are often eager to share the dark knowledge they obtain with friendly adventurers. 0/4. Lost Man of Phandelver. There's a skeleton on the back. I think this is our 4th. Our commons again. There's still some great stuff in there, but being common, you get a lot of it. Got our Lightfoot Rogue, Sudden Insight, and Magic Missile as our uncommons. Got a Mythic. Dragon. Inferno of the Starmounts. Can't be countered. Flying Haste. Inferno of the Starmounts gets +1/+0 until end of turn for 1. When its power becomes 20 this way, it deals 20 damage to any target. So for 14, it becomes a 26, and it deals 20 damage to any target. Or if you put other things to increase, then like if you put +1/+1 tokens on it, then I mean technically, if you could put like tokens to get it up to like a 19/19, then you can pay 1, deal 20 damage to any target. If you have a way, then that could be comboed in some weird ways. If you can then reduce it, say remove it. There might be some ways that you can do things with that. The Ancient Dragon, Imvaernahora, has earned his fiery nickname. Plains and Tome of Annihilation with the Atropal on the back, which is actually what you get for finishing this one. Another draft booster. Commons. There's some great art, particularly as a fan of D&D and a DM who uses like these monsters in their game. Look at that, based on like the old school. Anyways, it's just great. Uncommons are Cisara, Death's Whisper. You see a pair of goblins. Death Priest of Mirkul. And our rare is Froghemoth. Frog Horror, Trample Haste. When it deals combat damage to a player, exile up to that many target cards from their graveyard and put a +1/+1 counter on Froghemoth for each creature card exiled this way. Gain 1 life for each non-creature card exiled this way. Common Foil. Swamp. Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Like I said, when I got the big cards, like these are like the most common tokens that I've noticed in the set. All right, carrying on. Like when I see a skeleton on the back, when I'm opening it, I'm like, and another dungeon. We got our commons in this set. Ooh, Pixie Guide. Beautiful. Great art. I love some of those monster. Just the variety is nice. Uncommon, we got our Barbarian class. Trickster's Talisman. Temple of the Dragon Queen. A land. Ooh. And a rare with the Monster Manual style art. Varus, Silvery Moon Ranger. Human Elf Ranger. Reach. Ward 1, which I think is in order for an opponent to get to cast a spell on it, they must pay 1 mana, or it's countered. Whenever you cast a creature or planeswalker spell, venture into the dungeon. Triggers only once each turn. Whenever you complete a dungeon, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. Very nice. Mountain, and yep, it's a dungeon. I think this is 7? Although, I guess with what I said before, when I see something that's not a skeleton, goblin, or a trople on the back as I'm opening it, I'm thinking, ooh, what am I going to get this time? I don't know. Quickly go through our commons. So, like, Celestial Unicorn here, I think, is that one of the ones that we got in the special art? What is that outside? Lurking Roper. Oh, I love this. I just want to read this. You see, stalactites grow down from the ceiling while stalagmites reach. Ah! I like that flavor text. Hunter's Mark. And a red dragon as our uncommons. The Bard class as our rare. Nice. Ooh, blue dragon, our uncommon as a foil. Lovely forest. And Dog Illusion. Okay. There's our token in here. There's one that I don't know if I've seen before, so very nice. Draft Pack 8. As I get my way through these, I'm just thinking, man, so close. Soon, I'll get to open other kinds of boosters. Manticore. Uncommons, Bruno Battlehammer, Ray of Frost, Loathsome Troll. Got our rare, Nadar's Selfless Paladin, Dragon Knight, Vigilance. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, venture into the dungeon, and other creatures you control get +1/+1 as long as you've completed a dungeon. And a rare foil, Zalto, Fire Giant Duke, legendary giant barbarian trample. When it's dealt damage, venture into the dungeon. Fire giants love to fight on a large scale, and Duke Zalto is one of the greatest warmongers of his age. Island and that boring one. 9. And on to our uncommons, Barbarian and Wizard, a Guild Thief. We get Circle of Dreams Druid as our rare, Elf Druid. Add 1 green for each creature you control. The realms protected by Druids of the Circle of Dreams are gleaming, fruitful places where dream and reality blur together, and the weary can find rest. A Swamp and Dungeon of the Mad Mage. And our 10th and final draft booster pack. Let's see, man. Commons. Uncommons. Gretchen Titchwillow. Battlecry Goblin. Red Dragon. You can sometimes just see the number of cards behind here, and my brain goes, token, land, here's the rare. Oh, there's a foil in this one. So rare, land, Dungeon Descent. Enters tapped. Add a colorless. 4, tap it. Tap an untapped legendary creature you control to venture into the dungeon as a sorcery. Foil Red Dragon. Very nice. Forest. Move Annihilation. So I have pulled together 5 set boosters here. Which, like I said, they have different information on the back for different distributions, because they can have multiple rares at times. There's other things. So there's a little more variety. There can be cards from a thing called The List, which basically says instead of a token, you might get just like an old card with an extra symbol. We'll see if we get any of those. But first off, each one has an art card. This card has a glossy finish. You can kind of see the difference in the light reflections here. Glossy finish card. And this one is just from the Artist series. Island, get a Rust Monster. There's a variable number of uncommons to uncommons in the set. We get our Rust Monster as an uncommon here to have this fun art style. Common, uncommons called Port Merchant. Uncommon, Kalain Reclusive Painter. Uncommon, Displacer Beast. Another common there. A rare white zombie soldier enters the battlefield tapped. Life drain. Whenever a creature dealt damage by this this turn dies, create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token and exile the card that was dealt damage. Whites want the world to resound with echoes of their own cruel hatred. Ooh, a Celestial Unicorn that is foil in the Monster Manual style art. And Spider token. Set booster 2. Okay. Here, again, art card. This one is of a monster, though, so on its back, it has almost useless stats. Slight reference use, I guess. Because it has, like, some of, like, what their attacks and abilities are by name, but not what they do. You would have to have some other, reference to do anything with this. But I guess, it has something. But having monster cards to show art to the players, that alone, that is useful. Swamp. Clattering Skeletons. Monster Manual art. Common. Demogorgon's Clutches uncommon. Moonblessed Cleric. Cleric class. There's an interesting thing that is possible to happen, I guess, to note. A second Paladin's Shield. Split the party. Rare. Hive of the Eye Tyrant. Land. It's one of the ones that enters tapped if you control 2 or more other lands. And it can be used to turn itself into a Beholder creature, which exiles cards from defending party's graveyard when it attacks. Foil Swarming Goblins. And, yeah, Dungeon. Set booster 3. Okay. This is going to be a fun one, and I can tell because this is the token side, and that is not a token. So I'm glad we will get to show that off. So, starting on this end, we'll end with that. Our art. And this is a basilisk. Like that is some awesome art for a basilisk. Plains, bullet, some commons, Cridle of Baldur's Gate, Split the Party, Keen-Eared Sentry. We get our rare of Oswald Fiddlebender, Gnome Artificer, Magical Tinkering, 1 and tap, sacrifice an artifact. Search your library for an artifact card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrificed artifact's mana value. Put it into the battlefield, then shuffle. Activate as a sorcery. So just upgrading artifact to artifact. Okay. Can't see this airship crashing in the near future. Steady as a rock. It, foil pixie guide, and then... Okay. So here, this is a card from a previous set that is on the list. And it just has this little symbol in the bottom to denote that it's a reprint from the list. Otherwise, like, it's exactly the same, 93 to 2007 as the copyright date. It's like, they have them in the really old, like, frame style. Like, it's printed how it was. Whatever frame that set had, it has. But there is still some differences in this frame versus the new one. For example, the bottom has the actual color instead of going to black at the bottom to make the text easily readable. So, it does have... You can tell those differences in it, because it's whatever frame style was printed at this time. So, set booster 4. Look at that. Look at that. Wardenkainen. Art card. Island. Underdark Basilisk. Monster Manual art. Eccentric Apprentice. You find some prisoners. Hama Pasha Rune Seeker. There's some uncommons there. Our rare is a Monster Manual framed Minion of the Mighty, a Kobold. Menace, Pack Tactics. When it attacks, if you attacked with creatures with a total power of 6 or greater this combat, you may put a dragon creature card from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. So without paying for it, you can put it in already attacking. Foil, Bar the Gate, and Tome of Annihilation. On the 5th and final set booster for this round of opening cards. Lovely. Lovely. Beholder. Ooh, just plains as foil. Mimic. I'm pretty sure at this point that each one of these has at least one of these special, like, Monster Manual framed cards in the common, uncommon, and it's like the first one after the land, because every one of them I've opened has been like that. So. Guild Thief. Critical Hit. Barbarian class. 50 Feet of Rope. Some uncommons. We get our rare is the Sorcerer class. There's the battlefield, draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards. Level up. Creatures you control can tap for blue or red mana to cast instant or sorcery spells, or gain a class level. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, that spell deals damage to each opponent equal to the number of instant and sorcery spells you've cast this turn. Foil, Feign Death. Another one of these cards. Oloro, Ageless Eccentric from the list. Which, I mean, they change the list with each set and try and have things that at least somewhat, it feels like somewhat kind of deal with, could be leaning towards almost the D&D flavor with this time around. And finally, I have 2 collector boosters. So there's the special rules on there. Includes 10 traditional foil cards, combination of 5 cards of rarity, rare or higher, 2 to 5 uncommon, 4 to 7 common, 1 land, foil, mythic, borderless, planeswalker in 4% of boosters. It is a $20 booster pack here. So, foils, leather armor, steadfast paladin, compelled duel, evolving wilds, and uncommon foil still tricksters, talisman, prosperous innkeeper, a plains. We have a mythic, Sirarak the Archwitch, zombie wizard. When it enters the battlefield, if you haven't completed Tome of Annihilation, return it to its owner's hand and venture into the dungeon. When it attacks, for each opponent, you create a 2/2 black zombie creature token unless that player sacrifices a creature. A rare, borderless, share the spoils. When it enters the battlefield, an opponent loses the game, exile the top card of each player's library. During each player's turn, that player may play a land or cast a spell from among cards exiled with this card, and they may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast that spell. When they do, exile the top card of their library. Vorpal Sword, borderless, +2/+0, has Death Touch. Till end of turn, it gains whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. Common with the Monster Manual frame. Again, Direwolf Prowler, Monster Manual frame. We get a mythic, borderless, old Gnawbone. Flying. Whenever your creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many treasure tokens. We get the Evolving Wilds land. It's a common, but with the frame. And I think that's foil. The module frame. Another Sirarak the Archwitch, mythic, borderless, foil, and a foil token. And we have one final booster to open. A second collector booster. See what we get. That's the token side. Alright. So some foils. So Raven, Shambling Ghast, Ranger's Longbow, Half-Elf Monk, Uncommon, Divine Smite, Lurking Roper, Forest. Alright. I have a rare Circle of Dreams Druid. Seen that? This one foil. A rare Hellish Rebuke, borderless. Till end of turn, permanents your opponent's control gain. When this permanent deals damage to the player who cast Hellish Rebuke, sacrifice this permanent, you lose 2 life. Oh, okay. Mythic, borderless, Book of Vile Darkness. Beginning of your end step. If you lost 2 or more life this turn, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token, tap and exile it. And artifacts you control named Eye of Vecna and Hand of Vecna, and create Vecna, a legendary 8/8 black zombie god creature token with indestructible and all triggered abilities of the exiled cards. A Knoll Hunter with the Monster Manual frame, Uncommon Rust Monster Manual frame, a rare Monster Manual frame, Delina Wild Mage, Elf Shaman. They don't have Sorcerer. They just use Shaman instead of Sorcerer in this. When it attacks, choose a target creature you control and roll a d20. 1 to 14, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of it, and has exile this creature at end of combat, and 15 to 20, create one and then roll again. So, can keep stacking if you keep rolling high. Foil, Celestial Unicorn, Monster Manual Frame. Foil, Rare, Monster Manual Frame, Minion of the Mighty. A foil token, treasure, and then the emblem that the Planeswalker Zariel would create. Okay. So, first off, just the set in general. I love it. It's great. I love the D&D flavor on Magic. I'm very happy. Very happy with this set. It's a lot of fun. It's fun to see the things that I know from D&D on Magic cards. It's exciting for me. Otherwise, draft boosters are great for, like they say, drafting. Set boosters are fun just to see more of what you can get in them. Particularly if you're a little more on the collecting side of things, but not necessarily like, I want to collect all the foil variants. But if you're just a little more collecting and less playing, set boosters seem nice. The collector boosters this time are good. I've gotten one collector booster before, and it was like the first or second set that they existed in, Throne of Eldraine. I actually have a video from that, and I wasn't happy with it. I think they were more expensive and not as cool. This time around, I mean, maybe I just got lucky or something. Mythic, foil. Then going through another Mythic, borderless. Then another Mythic. Mythic foil with borderless. Admittedly, the same Mythic foil on both of those. One borderless, one without. But that was a fun booster to open. I gotta say, I didn't get a Planeswalker in either of them, which of course would have been awesome. But I got some good cards, and they were fun to open. And I think they were a little cheaper than they used to be. Still, like I said, $20 is expensive, but I think it used to be worse than that. But yeah, so I was pretty happy with those collector boosters. Now, I don't think I'm going to, even for this set, order more collector boosters. But getting one or two for a set that I'm excited about is something that I will continue to do. I gave him a second chance on this set because of how excited I was for this set. I'm happy that they did this. I like D&D, and I like Magic, and I like where they intersect. I'll link down below where you can find Magic cards online. They're available online. They sell them there. Like, comment, subscribe. What's your favorite card out of the set? Thank you for watching.